thank you all for being here. And I'd love to just take like three deep breaths to enter this space together. So however your body feels like doing that, sometimes my arms want to lift, sometimes my heart actively wants to arch, and sometimes I just want to sit exactly where I am and be still. So you go ahead and tap in for a minute and say, how does my body want to enter? And it can be different each time. But with each breath, we're going to take that inhale into this new space and this collective space that we're holding. And we'll exhale wherever kind of condition or space we were in before. So here we go. You, of course, are going to tune into the timing and the pace of your own breath, your own depth. Becoming more aware of the sensations and sounds of this moment. And I, of course, invite you to take one more free big push of air. And then open your eyes if you had them closed for just a moment, or keep them closed and stay centered. Today, I'd like to start with an intention. And it's for imagination and creativity. It's that imagination is how personal and worldwide revolutions begin. And as change leaders and as humans and as beautiful souls, if we can tap in to our imaginations and our creativity, then we can begin to create the world that we dream. So we're going to stay in this process of kind of entering and clearing our mind and body for about another minute or two. And I want you to consider, so just taking those deep breaths or whatever it is, but I want you to actually sense your body. And sometimes you'll feel that something is coming up for you. Like if you're doing a body scan and you're like, oh, at the top of my head, you may feel a tension or a sensation in your forehead. And it may feel good to just breathe into it and see if you can let it go with your breath. There are other times for me when I actually physically just move the energy through my body. And I invite you to do that. That's some of what we did yesterday if you were on the call. And so if you feel as you move through that there's a joint that feels maybe heavier or quieter or different, maybe even numb, maybe you don't feel that joint, I encourage you to open it and just move it around again to your natural kind of gentle motions in your body. And yesterday as we practiced, sometimes it means moving in different ways, right? The synovial fluid gets released when we move in a way that we haven't moved in a while, or perhaps ever. And in this way today, by honoring our body, by getting curious about the different sensations and flows and movements in our energy, we're going to create space to imagine. Two more deep breaths, maybe some more extra wiggle. Come on back when you're ready. I would like you to continue in knowing that though we stepped into that space intentionally, we never have to step back out of it. We can continue to breathe and to move, even on these meetings and on this call, as we explore with our minds and our heart. Our bodies can explore. Our skin from top to bottom is filled with sensors, with neurons that take in and see and experience the world. So we actually lose out when we just get into purely headspace. If we think about the world from purely up here, which is easy to do if we're academics, right? And we forget to sense with our whole being, with our fingertips, with our skin, with our feet, with our face. If we get to take in, if we forget to take in and to let go, we create a wall. So today is about opening up, tearing down that wall, and about creating awareness of those sensations, It's about turning from our thinking brain to creativity. Our thinking brain has been trained by society how to move what is right. It is full of shoulds and goods and right and wrongs. And our thinking brain actually activates, right? When we're in the language of indoctrination, right? The shoulds and goods and the rights and wrongs is actually activating our minds, which is in many ways polluted by our training, by our experiences in the world that we're told to follow these quick lines. So today we're going to speak the language of imagination. So here's what I invite you to do. I invite you to turn off the excuse makers, the thinking patterns, the sense makers, and I want you to turn on the imagination, the storyteller. Your native tongue is of imagination and creativity. And it'll take practice, but we're going to do it together. Find a space where your body can rest for a moment and where you can receive a question that you will meditate on for about the next 5 minutes. If imagination is how personal and worldwide revolutions begin, and if imagination is told in stories and love languages, then I ask you this. Close your eyes, open your heart, if that's comfortable for you. Sink in and spend the next few moments, about 4 or 5 minutes, allowing your mind to answer this question. What is the truest, most beautiful story about your life that you can imagine? What is the truest, most beautiful story about your life that you can imagine? What is the truest, most beautiful story about your life that you can imagine? Allow all the senses to flood. Smell. Smell your truest, most beautiful life. See it. See it in detail. The shapes, the color, the depth, the context. See your most beautiful life close in and from far away. Taste. Hear. Feel it. Allow your brain to stay in that place of imagination. There's no need for shoulds or hows. It's just quite literally the bright colors of your best self, your most beautiful story. The music that's playing in the background or coming from your own life. The flavors, the touch. See it in great detail. And as you find one, replay it. Play it in more clarity. If your mind begins to wander, remember your question. What is the truest, most beautiful story about your life you can imagine? Again, as you feel it in your body, if you're called to move, your cells will actually begin to integrate your thoughts into your movement. So if you feel a thought come in and your body's trying to make space for it, I encourage you to allow it. That stretch or that movement is exactly what we're looking for. Breathe it in, breathe it out, and see in your mind your most beautiful story of you. Your mind may begin to travel through time or across relationships. Yes. Yes. It may begin to show you pictures you've never seen before, or smells or tastes you've never experienced. Yes. Yes. Allow yourself to feel good, to feel great, vibrant and alive, and beautiful and whole. Take a moment to snapshot, to take little pictures, to commit them to your heart and memory, to be in them wholly, to move them through your body, and then to bring yourself back to this present moment while still holding them, that dream, that most beautiful self in your mind, in your heart, and in your soul. Come back to us if you're willing. Stay in your meditation and imagination space if that is where your heart is guiding you. Feel free to turn me down and stay there. And come back if you're ready. I want to invite you into a song mantra. It is more beautifully done by the beautiful chorus is a group, and it's called I Rise Up. But I invite you to sing it along with me, to play it along in your head. But there's a power in sound and in our own claiming and our own naming. Oh, I just heard this one, it hit me for a while. So again, you may want to look it up for the most beautiful version of this. I rise up in every way that feels right in my own soul. You're invited to share and to sing with me. I rise up in every way that feels right in my own soul. I rise up in every way that feels right in my own soul. I rise up in every way that feels right in soul. I rise up in every way that feels right in my own soul. I rise up in every way that feels right in my own soul. You have one more step today, and it's to write it down. The feelings, the words, the images, the sounds, as much depth as you can. And tomorrow you'll add to it. Maybe later today you'll add to it. You'll add to it, and you'll add to it, because that is the way we build and manifest. That is the way we create and imagine. We start revolutions in our own lives and in the world. Putting it on paper is not putting it in stone, but it is putting it in motion. So writing the words down sets something in motion. Glennon Doyle is one of my favorite authors right now. She has a book called Untamed. And in the chapter Imagine, she talks about this, right? Like, we can create it in our brains, but before we can manifest it with our lives, the most beautiful versions of ourselves, the most beautiful story that our lives can tell, you need to put it into 2D, right? Just write it down. And if you'd like to share it with someone, I'm here. Send me an email, call me, share your dreams and visions, or with someone else, or hold it close to your heart and read it every morning and then add to it, but set it in motion. The most beautiful version of your life.